Hey, everybody, off the Mike Sports Network here. Gonna do something a little different here. We had an early season WNBA game, and actually, hey, good news for you New York basketball fans. You finally beat a team from Indianapolis, Indiana. Granted, the team from Indianapolis, Indiana on the women's side is clearly, one of them, the New York team is the WNBA champions, but obviously the Indianapolis team has Caitlin Clark. And this was a great basketball game, back and forth. I mean, Indiana, the Fever were down 15. They go up 12 in the fourth quarter. Caitlin Clark hit like one from near the logo at the end of the third quarter that just brought the house down. And then this just came down to, John Paul Jones hits some shots, Brianna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu gets two free throws at the end with under 3 seconds. Marginal foul on Lexi Hull. And then at the other end, you get the reset timeout, and Caitlin Clark goes up for three. Looks like she gets fouled. No call. Time runs out, and the Liberty win to stay undefeated on the season. Okay, there's a reason why I bring this up. Number one, I talk about this all the time, and I get driven crazy about this in the NBA with how games are officiated and how inconsistent they are. Just from end to end at the end of this, the officiating was terrible. Like, listen, if you're going to call a marginal contact foul on Sabrina and get Sabrina Ionescu two free throws with under 3 seconds to go, you have got to call a foul, because even if that was marginal contact, you literally called something that was barely a foul, if at any, on one end. Here's the bigger picture thing of what's going to happen and why I needed to bring this up about Caitlin Clark, because I said it last year at the end of the season when the Fever got eliminated. I was like, I am so glad that the season's over, because the coverage of what has been going around about Caitlin Clark, from the Olympic stuff to her getting poked in the eye, to all the fouls, to the stuff with Angel Reese, it got exhausting. And it became not even about basketball. It became a racial and culture discussion that just got really uncomfortable. And we're 4 games in, well, we're 3-4 games into the season, and I saw a clip going around from earlier in the week when the Atlanta Dream were playing the Fever, and Brittany Griner was caught on camera saying something inflammatory, and a couple of lip readers, including Riley Gaines, known conservative, outspoken voice who has no idea she was mad because she finished 5th place in a race against a transgender swimmer, and was mad about it, and now she's using that for her own personal gain. And hey, do more power to you for doing what you do, but you sound like an idiot. So, but these people are now just trying to. Brittany Griner they were saying, oh, it was aimed at Caitlin Clark for calling her a white girl, and it was actually Brittany Griner basically saying, hey, that was a bad call to foul me out of the game. It was a trash fucking call. And listen, I know, and by the time this gets up on my page, I'm sure that there's going to be some people who are going to be complaining about, oh, Caitlin Clark didn't get the call at the end. Why did the Liberty get the call? Leaving out the fact that Sabrina Ionescu is a white girl too. Leaving out that. So this is not a racism thing. So can we stop, please, with all of this racism stuff? Can we please stop? Like, I am begging all of you to stop with all of this pushing of racism and trying to push one narrative, because Caitlin Clark is the most popular player, arguably male or female basketball player going today. She is a joy to watch. She doesn't want any part of this. And the one thing I love about Caitlin is that she carries herself in a certain way where she is trying to distance herself from all of this bullshit around you. And yet all of you fans and everybody, it's almost like when you watch Caitlin Clark, you have no fucking idea how to watch a basketball game. Even sometimes, like, people are going after Dejanay Carrington because, I think it was Ryan Howard of Atlanta who was like getting really physical and getting into the body of Caitlin Clark during a game. Everybody's like, oh man, they're trying to kill Caitlin Clark. I was like, you guys have got to chill the fuck out. You really have to chill the fuck out when it comes to watching basketball. Because, yes, do I get frustrated sometimes at some of the physical play? And, I've talked about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the NBA, but we're not claiming racism. We're not claiming racism or anything like that, because, one guy gets a call and one guy doesn't. I mean, we just have we basically are saying, okay, because women are playing basketball, it's now boiled down to racism. Why can't we make this similar to how we watch the NBA and appreciate these women as basketball players and not try to make them victims? Because I think that's what Caitlin Clark is trying her best to do in growing this game. And by the way that by the way people are watching this, and I know that people are going to get mad at with how that game ended. I'm mad about it because it wasn't a fair way to officiate when you call a foul on one end when it was marginal contact, and then you don't call a foul on the league's most recognizable and marketable player. That's not the reason why you call the foul. But if you call a foul on one end that was marginal and this one looked worse, you should call the foul. Just be consistent. But it's not racism. That's not what this is. And then I see the stuff with the Dream earlier in the week. I've seen stuff with I think it's the Dallas Wings is where Dejounte Carrington, because she got a lot of attention last year for the way she was defending Caitlin Clark when she was with the Connecticut Sun. But listen, we're what 3-4 games into the season, and we're already having more of the same stuff going on in the WNBA. And a lot of people are turned off about it because, hey, a lot of these narratives are being pushed about Caitlin Clark. And I'm here to tell you, listen, I don't like it either. I think in some respect, there is good to have some drama in your league and, have some rivalries building. But it's a completely other thing when, also Angel Reese, like I know Angel Reese has become a divisive figure. Angel Reese is not doing herself any favors with, her trying to like get mad at Caitlin Clark for doing a take foul. And it may have been a little bit of a hard foul, but it was nothing. It doesn't also help that Angel Reese, in terms of like, trying to compare herself to Caitlin Clark, let's be real, they're not even on the same wavelength as a player. They're not. Like Angel Reese like had a sequence where she missed like 4 consecutive layups and while getting like 3 offensive rebounds. It was like, listen, Angel Reese is a good player. She's not Caitlin Clark. So that's the other part of this. And, just like I said, the way that people are watching women's basketball needs to drastically change. It's not a culture war. At the end of the day, it's just basketball. That's what it is. It's a competitive game with a lot of great female players across the league. And some of this is also, maybe some of this is a little bit of jealousy. So the league has got to get in front of this and get everybody kind of on the same page. Yeah, you can be physical, but there can't be like some of this like jealousy stuff and all this stuff that's been going on in the league the last 2 years. It's got to get cleaned up a little bit from a league perspective, because I don't know if the WNBA really has fully grasped like the lightning rod that Caitlin Clark is. Like, not from a personality perspective, just how popular she is. But also us as fans, we have to have a better handle on how to watch this stuff, because again, it's almost like watching a completely different sport when you're watching women's basketball compared to the NBA. Like, it's completely different. Like, somebody barely gets touched and everybody's like, "Oh my God, that's a violent act. Throw her out of the league." Like I've literally seen 3-4 games this year with Caitlin Clark, and I'm just like, "Oh my God, have you guys completely forgot how to watch the game of basketball? Let's not act like these are women. They're talented women." But at the end of the day, and I talk about this all the time with my sister when it comes to like, let's bring this back to what this channel is about. A cross between sports and sports entertainment. WWE has tried to make a consistent and conscious effort to, make their women feel equal to the men. Women are getting more main events. They're getting more opportunities. They're getting more championships. The women's division of the WWE is at the top. Why can't we do the same thing with women's basketball? Because women's basketball is as popular as it has ever been. It helps to have, in my eyes, the most famous and most recognizable figure across both men's and women's basketball in Caitlin Clark. You could say LeBron, you could say Steph, you could say probably something, but Caitlin Clark is right up there as one of the most recognizable, important figures, not just in basketball, in sports. Like, she is it. She is it. But at some point, we have got to figure out a way to just dumb this down to the point of, okay, it's basketball. And I know Caitlin would want this more than anything, to just, focus on the games. This animosity and stuff, It's no different than what Michael Jordan was dealing with 25, 30 years ago when he was roaming around. You guys saw the documentaries. All those guys fucking hated each other, but it wasn't racism. It wasn't like, hate crimes or anything like that. It wasn't like, us, and obviously social media doesn't help, but when we're getting screen grabs of Brittany Griner on the bench screaming something and we automatically think it's racism, it's like, guys. And also the Brittany Griner dynamic, that whole thing was a separate issue too that made that a little bit more of an uncomfortable conversation. But listen, like, can we just watch basketball like normally across both the WNBA and the NBA? Because it's almost like watching two completely different sports at this point. And it needs to get cleaned up from a fan perspective and also from a league perspective. This has to be addressed. Because I'm telling you right now, if it doesn't get addressed soon, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be in and out of this league and not watching it anymore, just because it's hard to talk about, and that's not what it should be. It should be about what goes on the court. It's not anything bigger than that. Control yourselves, everybody. So the Fever are 2-2, but they're still going to be a really good team. I still think that they can win the WNBA championship this year. And guys, the Liberty are the best team in the sport right now. They do. They're the defending champions. They're really, really good. It's early in the season. Let's not make this more than it is, okay? Atlanta, the team that they played earlier on, they're really good too. They're very good. So, guys, just keep it to basketball, please. It's not a race or culture war or anything like that, okay? So handle yourselves appropriately. Anyway, thanks so much. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.